Good God, it worked.
Oh my God.
Hasn't been lately. Let me adjust the screen to give everybody vertigo. Excellent.
Maybe you need one of the new MacBook Airs that came out.
So you want to replace the brand new $3,000 Macintosh with a brand new $2,000 Macintosh.
Okay, maybe you just need to take some stuff off it, like I need to do on my new phone that I'm currently looking at. I will stop in a moment.
So we apologise for the shitty sound yesterday. It's either that new phone, that's option A,
oh God, it's still talking to me,
or the generator was on. No, just put
aeroplane mode?
No, just put it out of the way. Which is probably for the best anyway, quite frankly.
You're so high maintenance.
Welcome to the Doc Day Drinking Podcast, where the Doc is not day drinking, sadly, because he's still on his shitty diet.
I have joined you on said shitty diet.
Because you're fat.
Yeah, my pants don't fit real well, and I'm going to be
we're in a gunt-rich environment.
A pool in the next 3 weeks, so
Is it 3 weeks?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, not that we'll mention
I'd prefer
what we're doing.
Not to be the beached whale on the side of the pool.
Let's see how we go.
I'm sure there'll be an American or a German there who makes me feel better. Anywho,
so it's been quite a.
Now it's your phone.
Can everyone fuck off?
See, it's not me.
All right, hang on a second. Let me turn some shit off.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Well,
I was actually just making a list of stuff to do before I go away because I'm such a space cadet. I need lists for everything.
I swear
I'm going to print it out and laminate it.
Still you beeping. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Where was I before I was so rudely interrupted by
Talking
people I don't want to talk about?
Which is why you can't think.
Yes, and not eating because I'm still not having dinner. That's the other reason why I can't think.
I just had a banana.
Cool. Well, that'll be all for today. Thank you very much.
Riveting.
Watch out for wolves, my children.
I have spent... Well, I'll start talking because you're sipping. I've spent hours this afternoon logging into all of my stuff again on my new phone, which is very frustrating. But the most frustrating out of all of them is the MyGov shit. It just doesn't work.
It does, but it's very perfunctory and it's always hilarious, which I've argued, and somebody said, I can't remember who, but somebody said, well, look, you just don't really know what you're talking about. And I go, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Keep the advice coming.
Please keep the advice coming. I don't know anything about
got a doctorate.
Any of those sorts of things.
Dear.
But because it's just a case of, if it's good enough for a bank to move $100,000, it should be good enough for MyGov for you to claim a $38.25 Medicare bloody thing.
You don't even do that anymore.
Yeah, no, but those sorts of things, much smaller scale stuff. And it's not like, because what do you give when you get what do you typically give for ID? Like a bank card and a driver's license.
Yeah.
So
it just doesn't work. Like it. So I don't know. Let's see. Going on an hour and a half ago, it said we've sent a code to your email. Still waiting. Like fucking assholes. They've paid to do this, and it doesn't even work. Anywho, that's enough ranting from me. Well,
I can tell you how they do it if everybody wants to know. They outsource it to, like Unisys, and Unisys will outsource it to Candle IT. I'm using really old companies. They're all dead now that I have worked for before. And then they'll outsource it to some other firm, usually a little headhunting firm. Each of them adding
their percentage of profit on top.
And then they'll outsource it to,
India.
No, me.
Yeah.
At $77 an hour in 1999.
Yeah, anyway.
And, and then, it's pretty funny. And then they do things like they go, these computer contractors are making far too much money. We've got to crack down on them. So they can't have their own. They're evading tax and all the rest of it. So we've got to make it so they're not allowed to have single-person companies if you work in that industry. And then, that made us all form together, which gave us more overheads, which made us all put our rates up. And then 6 months later, there's an article in the AFR going, IT costs across government have gone up 20%. It's like...
Yeah, well, they're not the sharpest tools in the shed.
No, they're not. But I always remember from back then, this project that I was a part of, which I quit, because I just went, I don't want to look like you. Because the money was phenomenal. Like, I was on really good money, 25 years ago. and like $90 an hour
Wow.
in the 90s, and pissed it all up the wall. I kept one house out of it, but everything else was a waste. I went through my wasting money on cars phase, and anyway, I just remember, and this was at the tax office, and I'm just them coming up and they're talking about the project, and the project's overblown and all the rest of it, so we're going to see what we can do. Look, money's no problem. And everybody, politely laughs, like he's going, yeah, it's not like we're going to have a problem with money. And it's like, this was the place where I think I told you the story years ago, there was two classes of worker there. There was public servants and there was contractors, and public servants got all of the rights and comforts of the traditional public servant, and contractors didn't, and they kept it very simple. So contractors, they said we had to pay for our tea and coffee. And they had a tea and coffee tin, and there was and it wasn't much. It was like they wanted 20 cents for a coffee. You should put 20 cents in the tin for a coffee because the government wouldn't provide it. Yours truly, this was just as GST came in, said, do you have an ABN for that? Are you taking GST on it? It was all gone the next day.
Yeah. Too hard.
So, sorry guys from 1998 or whenever it was that. No, it was later than that. It must have been 2000. Whenever GST came in, because it was literally
94.
No, it was later than that. Yeah.
97.
No.
Anyway,
it's definitely later than
I
that.
only did a brief stint in government. My federal government stint for 6 months. That's all I lasted.
That's all I lasted. I don't know if I even lasted 6 months.
I think I've said this on here before as well. I quit after my 6-month contract. They wanted me to stay because I had to have meetings about my meetings
Yep.
before I could go to a meeting. I'm like, why can't I just walk over there and talk to him? Oh, no, we've got to have a meeting beforehand. I'm the gatekeeper, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this is why nothing gets done.
They offered me. I don't know. It was one of the most. It was one of the most miserable times of my life.
They were nice enough about it, but
yeah,
there was no.
I'm about to pour my heart out, but anyway,
sorry.
do go on.
Sorry, please continue. Can't wait. Be a first.
We're yet to meet each other. Yeah. No, it was a miserable time of life. I was between lives, and it's when the .com crash happened, and that's why I ended up working in Canberra. So it must have been later. So yeah, it must have been 2000. Must have, what it was 99. Actually, no, it was 99 2000. I'm remembering now.
Is Laurie Brereton still alive in Canberra?
And yes, it sucked. And they offered me something ridiculous. It was like $100 an hour.
And you said no thank you.
And I said no thank you.
Well, that's how shit it is.
But that was 20-something-year-old me. 40-something-year-old me would be like, rent your house out, you stupid idiot. Get some dodgy flat down in Canberra.
Just take the money.
And just take the money.
Yeah.
Just take the money. I would have been in this shitty forest clearing
earlier.
10 years earlier.
We would have never met.
I see no negatives to just only benefits. Hilariously, it would have cost exactly the same amount of money because, this place was the same price for about 15 years. So anyway, so big news today.
Oh, God.
So I have my little run sheet. Interest rates have gone up.
Oh, that's right. You did mention that.
They're all very,
I heard it
very
this morning.
sad.
Is everyone butthurt?
Yes, they're all on Twitter. They're all twittering. Oh,
how much
blah,
did it go
blah.
up? 25 basis points, as usual?
Yeah, 0.25%.
Cool. Oh, sorry.
So,
people who don't know what basis points are?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So here's the thing, guys. The same people, it's hilarious looking at them all bitching on Twitter. They bitch about house prices on one hand, just inflation for whatever reason. And one of the biggest drivers of houses going up is free money. So you can't.
They don't understand how anything works.
Both.
Yeah.
It's really not that hard. And let me gaze into my crystal ball for you. So I'll show you what the cash rate's going to go to. Here we are, listeners. Very, very simple. So if your interest rates are too low compared to everyone else in a exporting economy, which is what we are, ish, you're going to fuck up your balance of trade, and monetary policy goes out the window because You know, like why would the dollar will go through the floor, which is great for exporting,
Yes.
so that part of it's good. But for imports, so did I really call us an exporting nation? That's the only thing we actually make any money out of.
Stuff out of the ground.
Stuff out of the ground, and education and financial services.
Yeah.
Everything else is local services. But anything other than dirt, we import. So yeah, like so if you can have if you've got money, or if you're running a hedge fund or whatever the fuck, you've certainly got. Why would you have your money here when it's like going? Well, how much am I going to get here? Oh, I might get 4.5%, or I can go somewhere else.
What's it in the States at the moment?
Well, this is how I was going to say. Let's gaze into our crystal ball. How much do you think? So let's look at let's look at the West, right? So we can look at Zimbabwe if you want. And yes, they've got an interest rate of 110%.
Is it still a country?
Yeah, mostly. Or Argentina. Argentina's at like 80%, 78%
Yeah.
interest.
78.
Yeah,
7.8
7-8,
on cash.
just short of 80%.
Fuck, that's all right.
They've got a bit of an inflation problem. No, it's not all right.
Oh, sorry. What you're saying on... So, what are you saying?
Their cash rate is 80%.
Right. That's good.
So you put...
For me, who's got money. So I put my money in there and I get 80%. Is that what you're saying? Or are you talking about interest rates?
I'm talking about the cash rate.
Right, okay.
So the loans... Yeah. I don't think they have loans there.
Oh.
Because their economy's completely stuffed, because money is worthless. And that's why. They've got massive inflation, and that's why... You know, they're like second or third. Like Zimbabwe, probably.
Russia.
So that's the thing. You end up with, it's Weimar Republic sort of stuff.
Yeah, anywho.
Right, so let's gaze into our crystal ball. So Australia's at 3.85% as of today. UK, 4.25%. Canada, 4.5%. US, 5%. Japan, -0.1%. Their economy has been stuffed since the Venga boys were charting.
Yes. Are they still in that?
Yeah, so they've had stagflation forever. And that's what I think will end up pretty much with the rest of the West once it gets past this point of stagflation. That
Well, people are going to shit their pants if, like, it's not like they're going to go to 17% like they did in the 80s.
Well, they can't.
That's what I mean. Like, they're not...
But they have got to
Can
hang
you
around.
imagine them on Twitter if it did? Fuck it, we're going to do 2 percentage points.
Well, you just have to... Well, what they have to do is
you have
raise
to bring
it
it in line.
Yeah. So they're going to have to raise it as...
What was it? 5 in the
5.
US?
So the US is like 5%.
Yeah.
That's the cash rate. And as I said, Japan is
To be competitive, you've got to bring it in line.
Yeah. And because, again, Japan's shrinking. Like they need... Yeah. And so they don't have an inflation problem. They've got a deflation problem.
Yeah.
So that's why they're...
We're at the tipping... We're nearly there, aren't we?
Everywhere's nearly there.
Yeah. The Western worlds. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're importing all of our...
Book I still haven't finished reading.
...growth from the subcontinent.
Yeah.
Which, again, neither the racists nor the greenies realise that, if you want your economy to keep working, you need bums on seats, because if it stops,
Well, that's what, as I mentioned a couple of podcasts ago, India has overtaken China as the biggest country on the planet. So
not taken very seriously. They are a nuclear power. They do have tea.
Yeah.
Fan of the food.
They have the younger chunks too, because China's starting to slow down as well.
They are, but I don't know. China's a little bit under us. China's about 3.5%.
I'm talking in terms of population and age.
I agree.
Yeah.
But in terms of
economy,
but their usual growth. Like their inflationary growth, it's
down.
still,
But
them.
They're like,
oh God, they're going to go. They're going to. Well, I don't know. I leave it as an exercise to the reader to look it up, because I wonder what their inflation is at in China at the moment.
I don't think you get real numbers out of them. That's the problem.
Yeah, but they used to be.
They do put out their economic growth numbers.
Their economy used to grow at like 9, 10, 11% every year, which they were cool with. Like, we want to keep our inflationary band sort of between 2 and 3%. We're at like fucking, I think officially we're like 7 or 8. Because that's the thing, like, everything's too expensive. Well, the only thing you can do is raise interest rates to make everything more expensive to buy on the other side, so people start not spending as much, and when they not spend as much, well, things will become cheaper.
I still
Supply and demand.
don't know where people's money's coming from.
No,
I kept
still
waiting
don't know.
for the merry-go-round to stop before now, and it hasn't, so we shall see. I think things are expensive, and I have money. I don't know what people without money...
We're comfortably poor people.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day that we should have changed the podcast name instead of the Doc Day Drinking Podcast, because I hardly ever day drink at the moment. I will, trust me, eventually we will make up for this in spades. But
We'll do one when we're on holidays near a pool.
but yeah, so I was going to call it the Comfortably Poor Podcast, but it's already been
Someone beat
taken.
you to it, yeah.
So, and I wonder, are you comfortably poor? How much do you want for it?
But yeah, so... so people are losing their minds over... Well, it's still got to go... It's got to go to at least 5.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the cash rate. The problem is, it'd be looking at what the... But again, more exercise for the reader, because I'm not an economist, is what is actually genuinely the average mortgage, and in terms of how much, I know what the average house prices and things are depending on where you are, but what's the average mortgage in each of the main demographics, and then see how much of an effect it has on them. But again, because that's what they keep bitching, they go, it was in the 90s interest rates were 17%, but then again your house only owed you 150 grand, but then again you only got paid
50,000 or something.
Yeah, no more than that. So I can remember from back in my day.
Jesus, yeah.
I remember, so I bought my first house in 1997, thereabouts. It was either 97 or 98. I think it was late 97. Anyway, back then I was on about 34,000 a year, and that was a good wage. I think the national average then was, not great, but it was good. And I think the national average then was about 28, 29. So I was going, oh yeah, that's a good thing. But I remember my mortgage was $114,000. And do you know what the average mortgage was? And they're talking about interest rates and things. I remember this really clearly. The average mortgage then was $100,000.
Wow.
So my mortgage I was on an above average. So I was, pretty stressed. But my repayments to memory were about 200 and something a week. And there again, on 34 grand, I was bringing home about 700 and something a week. Whatever it is, thereabouts. Don't check my maths. That's about it. That's about right, I guess. But yeah, I can remember, because I remember looking at ABC News and talking about it, and I'm going, oh, I'm a bit
over that. Oh dear. Oh no.
It's it's the cheapest house I could fucking find, guys.
Yeah.
Because it did start, because I bought right at the bottom. I got it on the ground floor. It was just starting to go up.
Okay.
And
you're on the Southern Highlands, weren't you?
And I sold that place 5 years later for double the money. So that's when houses were starting to double, but from a very low rate.
So I remember when I finished uni in 99, end of 99, because I had the accounting side, they all come trawling for graduates. I remember Ernst & Young, the salary package for a graduate accountant was $42,000 roughly, 42, 43, something like that, and that was good.
So that would have been...
I didn't want to work there. And the other one who came calling, what were they called? What's the tobacco people?
BT?
No.
British Tobacco?
Oh, mate. Yeah, Batav. They don't call them that. Batav. They came calling as well. And one of the girls I went to uni with, she went and worked for them, but I didn't want to work for them either. I had a bug up my ass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What? You
Didn't want to work for tobacco. Dying industry.
Oh, right. It wasn't some ideological...
No, well, I didn't... Yeah, I was like, what am I going to do there?
Make tons of bank. Anything with big in front of it.
I didn't want to work in the accounting side. I wanted to work in the marketing side.
Oh, okay. Yeah, accounting is dreadfully boring. I don't know how people do it.
No, there's some interesting bits.
Forensic accounting and all those sorts of things.
Green accounting was interesting.
If you have no creativity,
which was ahead of its time.
If you have no
in Wollongong Uni.
If you have no creativity whatsoever, and very process oriented, I could imagine accounting being very. You could work through your lists. You could check off boxes.
I liked the theory side. I didn't like the practical side. Hello to my Father, if he's listening, I remember I cried in my first semester because I thought debits and credits were pluses and minuses. I could not get it through my skull that they weren't.
You did law too, right?
I
You
did.
might need that at this point. What do you mean you can't get pluses or minuses?
Well, I kept getting stuck thinking that one was plus and one was minus.
Was it all right if one was in parentheses?
Yeah, I don't
Did that
know.
help
Anyway,
you?
I figured it out. It's all good.
It's not that hard.
Shut up.
For every credit, there's a debit.
What
For
would
every
you
debit,
know?
there's a credit. Quite a lot about double entry bookkeeping.
Nah.
I might have built wagering systems. You know, massive real-time accounting systems.
Anywho, what else you got?
Because that was pretty fucking boring too, let me assure you. Anyway, some of us did science. Moving right along. Qantas.
I saw that. New CEO female. When's he finishing up?
I think the old CEO was only half a man, wasn't he? Short, Irish, homosexual.
That's not.
Politically correct,
Oh, yeah.
despite its accuracy. I mean, it was perfect example of
Is he still there?
not all poofters are nice guys.
Oh, no, he's a twat. Is
I
he still
don't-
there or is he on a golden parachute?
Oh, well, either way, I think he's been on a golden parachute for
Yeah,
a very
forever.
long time. Because I actually looked at the stock price, no change. No one gives a shit.
No, Qantas is shit.
Yeah.
Just full stop.
Has it still got protected routes? It'd have to have.
Probably, yeah.
It'd have to have. Like, there's just these still nationalised,
They just keep giving
basically.
it money. Although, if
you
they
know.
tried to give it money now, people would, I hope, go, no.
I miss the omelettes on Ansett. They were good.
Jesus. I never flew on Ansett, ever.
Didn't you?
No.
Ansett was fine.
Yeah, I did again, but so as a female, I look at that and go, oh, for fuck's sake, they've ticked the female box. Like, was she the best person for the job, or was it just because she's got tits? That's where I'm at now when I look at all that shit, and I go, oh god. So
If she introduces herself and her pronouns, then
Oh,
you'll have the
God.
answer to that.
yeah,
Surely, to get that kind of job, you'll
You'd
have to be
hope so.
fairly
but I guarantee,
offensive
I
behind her.
guarantee, if there was her and a dude, they were the last two. They've picked her because she's got tits.
I think, again, homework. We're back to this thing in the other
We
podcast.
need
We haven't done this all the time. We just keep going to that. You'd have to look at what she was before and what she was doing and whether or not she's a fucking mercenary
so.
or not. They're not going to put some
I've never
fucking
heard of her.
ditzy blonde into it.
But then
so,
I'm out of the loop a bit at the moment.
yeah.
When does that come into effect?
Don't know. Didn't worry.
Cool.
I'm just said it happening, and I looked at the share price.
Oh,
That,
yeah.
I've done more research than you.
Sure.
But he's just been a fucking placeholder for how long?
Years.
So, whatever.
He
Qantas
resigned once
sucks.
before.
I don't know. I think it was a bit tentative at some point, maybe for whatever reason.
Pre-pandemic, maybe?
I don't know, but it sucks. They
Anywho.
took a pile of money. They didn't do shit. It's expensive. The quality's poor.
The last time we flew on
they're-
Qantas, we swore we would never fly on Qantas again, and we haven't.
Was that bitch that... Yeah, I remember that. So, yeah. So this...
We were flying internationally. I can't remember whether we were going
You've had enough, sir. Did she say that to... She didn't quite say that to me, or she said it to somebody else? I don't think she said it to me, but she stopped someone else from drinking. Or was it me? It wasn't me. I don't think it was me.
I don't remember.
Because I'd still be
Yeah, I don't
fighting the court
yeah.
case if it was me.
All I remember is we had behind us like a football team or
And she was
something.
all over them like
And
a
her
rash.
face was so plasticised from the bloody surgery she'd had on it and had so much makeup on it.
She definitely had fillers.
Her lips were huge.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember her lips were like elephant lips.
duck
on
face.
Her. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, and she could not give a shit about anyone else on the plane. Like, she was rude and didn't serve anyone except the football team. It was like she was trying to line up a shag for when the plane
sure
landed,
she did,
which is
but
fine.
just
but
go on.
can you give me my fucking dinner?
Just go and
Go and get me a drink. That's your job.
yeah, grab the front row forward and take him out the back and bang one out, and then get on with
But
your
it was
day.
literally
Get the poison out. Move on.
it was literally like 2 rows behind us, and all I remember is the fake laugh, and then all of a sudden you get to our row, which was adults, normal people, and she was a bitch.
But I'm pretty sure. I can't remember if it was. It couldn't possibly have been me. But what I have in my mind that somebody else asked for another drink,
There
and
was
she
something-
said,
yeah, I think
and
it
she
was
said
you.
something along the lines of, "Oh, that's the last one I'm giving you," or something. I can't think it was me. Because if it was me, I was
Or
like,
was it the bloke across the
I think
way
it was
from
the
us?
bloke across the way. Because I said, if she does that, we have a problem.
So yeah.
So it's like,
But
I'm
it was terrible service.
I've had
as well.
it-
Like, they ran out of things and didn't have enough dinners, and
Yeah.
you
just
ring
garbage.
the bell and they don't come, and
That must have again protected route. That must have been Hawaii,
yes, I think it was.
US
It
route.
was terrible and just old and dingy. I think my TV didn't work or something. Like,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
just shit.
I literally in the 90s during my heyday had to get on a Qantas flight at one point, and they literally still had the projector. It's like, oh, cool, 8mm porno.
I've only ever had
Stag loops.
oh no, maybe early on, I think. But anyway, so hopefully not on our next flight. So it's not Qantas anyway. We're flying Singapore Airlines.
Yeah, but
Amazeballs.
in the back of the plane, because first class and business is
Astronomical.
retardedly expensive. So I don't know.
So Legs has booked a US trip. A friend of mine who is from the States but lives here now. All of them. She was quoted
$6 million.
$23,000 she was looking at, and she went, "That's ridiculous."
For business?
No, for economy. For 4 of them.
Jesus.
And she went, "Nah, can't afford it." Well, not doing it. And then
Get a few more friends and charter a plane.
So they're all adults now. She managed to snag it for $7,000 something, but she's flying Qantas.
Jesus.
So they're going.
She might have to walk from Thailand or something.
So I think they're going at the end of the year or beginning of next year. But anyway, she's like, "Quick, book it."
Where does Qantas switch to get to the US, or does it somehow manage to get all the way there? It is direct?
Yeah.
Sydney to LAX?
Or Houston, I think they used to go to
Houston.
as well. So. Anywho.
In other news, which I will give it all of the time it deserves, Tasmania is actually getting an AFL club. Okay, next subject. So,
how embarrassing. What's it called?
Who cares?
Oh, fuck. Anyway,
but again, shows a bribe.
Tasmania.
So the money's in place for the stadium. Oh, yeah, you can have a team. You can have a team now. I've seen people there all doing like fake jerseys, one with the turbo chooks and.
How embarrassing. Yeah, good spend. This is why Tasmania is a dominant world power.
Look, allow me to play devil's advocate. All that money will help keep construction going in this dingy little rock. Tin Pot little
Island.
Australian country, yep. TPLAC. Shout out to Sir Humphrey. But, so that's okay, that's cool. Couldn't give a shit about AFL, but it's a religion south of Bega.
So it's Hobart based, is it? The team.
No, it's going to be,
that's what I mean.
Good luck.
They're going to fight.
Yeah, so, as I said beforehand, build it at Oatlands and attach a GP super clinic to it.
Yeah, wow.
God. For those listening, Oatlands is pretty much there's two towns, Ross and Oatlands, and even Tasmanians know enough history to call it the Mason-Dixie line, because that's basically what it is.
Anyway, I'm not giving it any air. Next.
Yeah, that's about it. So, very local news. Apparently a policeman was hit by a garbage truck in Launceston today.
They didn't die. It was a chick.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Were they crossing the road legally?
Didn't see anything on it. I just scrolled past it. I'm afraid. Couldn't care less.
So I was in town when it occurred, and
weird.
Yes, I was.
Did you hear the?
They'd blocked off the whole Brisbane Street Mall, and there was cops at both ends.
Where did they get hit?
I think it was over. I think I'm not sure, but I think it was
in the mall,
close to the mall over that side. So somewhere.
Like Maya side?
I would say not to put too fine. I hope they do very well. I hope they're not injured. I hope they recover from their injuries before I make all these jokes. I think if you got the shortest distance between Wendy's and the police station, I think that's about where they got hit by a truck.
Donuts, quick.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much what occurred. But I don't know.
I hope we don't know the driver of the garbage truck, because we do know someone who drives garbage trucks.
Yes. And garbage trucks in Tasmania do run people over a bit lately.
Oh, the kid that got run over.
Got whacked. And what was interesting about that, dear reader, is that the coroner had no recommendations. So it was just...
pure accident.
What can you do? Kid...
ran under the thing.
Just ran under the front wheel on a bicycle.
Yeah.
Just... That's a wrap, Jack. And
there's nothing you can do
so
about that.
couldn't see it. Truck driver couldn't, what can you do? So
because he didn't even know.
No, as I understand it.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what
good.
happened in that one, but yeah.
So it's pretty remarkable when
Black
a coroner
pig.
has no what.
Flat pig.
See, for the record, I am not the most offensive person on this podcast. I have more filter than you, which is a worry.
I'm not good with authority, especially Tasmanian
Really?
police.
Well, we haven't had much to do with them. I might slightly, because I think I got booked today, as I mentioned to you.
Ah,
So they put
yes.
that...
From
they
the
put-
tank?
Yeah, one of those fucking... Basically, it looks... The Tasmanian speed cameras, because there's no fixed speed cameras in Tasmania.
You should put a picture up. They're hilarious.
Yeah, it looks like a 1990s portable work light things that they used to have on the side of the road.
But it's got a periscope.
So, well, that's what will be taking a photo of me. So I'll probably get done. So as soon as I saw it, because again, I actually got done. Of course, I'll write a letter. Dear sir, I'm very important.
Do you know who I am?
Do you know who I am? I haven't been booked in many years.
I've done that once.
And it's worth your while. You usually get off in about 30% of cases, but there's fucking no way at the moment. I reckon they might go, oh, well, we've decided to charge you the money, but spare you the demerit points.
It's clear revenue raising because of the
Absolute,
pandemic.
absolute revenue raising. So this one was absolutely at the bottom of a hill, and at the time I was going through there at 5 o'clock in the hour, I had the sun in my eyes. Because I usually, so I couldn't see the damn thing.
It's right that it wasn't in the middle of the road.
Yeah, I
They
couldn't
like doing
see.
that too.
Yep, I've had to drive around them. So I couldn't see. So genuinely, I couldn't see the speedo because the sun was in my eyes. So I was paying attention to staying on the fucking road.
Where was it exactly?
Coming down from Ravenswood, heading towards Kmart, where the near your donkey farm.
Jesus.
So it's right at the bottom there. So I couldn't see it.
And it's in
I
a
couldn't
poor area. They keep putting them in the poor areas. Go and put them in the fucking rich areas.
No. Speed limits are already,
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, so I will write them.
raised
I
from
will
the
write them a
poorest
letter,
people.
and I will say that it's a little cynical that these seem to be always in the poorest. I won't do that. I'll just write.
Try and
them
get off
up.
yours first.
I'll try and get
then
off mine
complain.
first, and then complain bitterly on a podcast with 59 subscribers.
I've only ever seen them in the poorer suburbs.
Yeah. You garnish their Centrelink.
I hate humans. Anyway,
Either way,
cool. How much is a fine these days?
I think I quickly looked it up because like Tasmania, like you get a parking fine that's $9 and you laugh your ass off.
24. Thank you very much. And
It is
mine's
now.
more.
It's cheaper. Just take the fine and leave the car there all day.
People do.
Yeah, and that's the idea. It works out about so the parking. How much is parking in town now? It's like $3.80 an hour or something. So it's if you're there all day,
You just
break
find a spot
even.
and sit in it. Yeah.
But there's so many parking narcs walking around there that you will get bogged.
Loading zones are more people.
Yeah, some of the fines are real, but the parking ones are just nothing. I was going to say, yeah, so I did look it up. So depending on if I was 10 over or 10 under, because as soon as I did notice that I hit the skids, either 110 or 250, I think.
Oh God! All right.
So and a few points, either 1 point or 3 points.
Oh God! I've never lost any demerits. I've never had a speeding fine that I've paid.
When I was 17, I had the book thrown at me. But the trick then was that you didn't pay the fines. So I was about 2 months away from getting my blacks. So the trick was,
Just let it sit.
yeah, because I'm from Bargo, you let it sit and you let them wait until they're about to send the bailiff and then you pay. So you want to get, so the way that there was a bug in the software is that you waited until you actually got your blacks, then you paid the fine and they took the demerits off your black licence, not off your...
Off your P's.
So not at the time
didn't
that the
lose it.
offence occurred, but at the time of payment.
Right. Well,
Pro tip for 1990s, getting off, lessening the damage of. But I got nearly $1,000 fines in 1990s
hell.
money. But
What were you
$700,
speeding like an asshole
140 on my P's.
because you're young and dumb.
No, I had a car, Your Honour. I had
That's
This
why
car-
male insurance is more.
a car where the speedo didn't work.
Oh.
Surely
you
and
knew.
on the highway, and the primary jets in the carby weren't working well, so it was like you were just like, it wasn't my car, and we're going to Summonats. Duh.
Uh-huh.
So I got booked by the feds. They threw the book at me. So that was it. Like, so I really got away with it because the feds then, it took so long for it to get from the federal police to the New South Wales police, and I'm just like going, I reckon I'll get away with this.
Jesus.
And I did. So there you go. Happy days.
Well, speaking of...
And I still lost my licence. I lost my licence for 3 months, but I didn't get my P's back as I should have. I got my blacks back. Yeah.
They don't even do that anymore, do they, blacks?
No. I don't know. And I don't care. Fuck the young.
They do that in New South Wales because I had a gold licence. Like there's levels, but I don't think
do they still have gold licences?
Yeah, I think so. It depends on it's year based, not driving based now. So you,
no, really?
Yeah.
Is there like Executive Platinum Express? Can you get?
Can I pay more?
I don't want gold. I want black.
And I got gold by accident.
By accidentally paying for 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
for the longest
Sydney,
time,
I remember I walked in to renew it and walked out going, I don't know what she just did, but I've now got a gold licence.
For the longest time, it was absolutely a case of, even though it has your address on it, which is a pretty good socio-economic indicator in Sydney, but you've got a gold licence, you show them a gold licence, and it's just like, yeah. How can I help you?
I still remember doing that, going in going, oh, I don't know. Okay, cool, thank you.
So that's about it. In other news, Vandal update.
Oh, God.
So all the money has been spent, all of the things have been delivered. So now I've got to waste some time writing a letter of demand. And
because we've seen not a single cent from the Vandals yet.
No, but they're going to find out the hard way if they don't. Because I'm going to make a hobby of it, and I'm going to tell them not only. So this, it's in public open court, but not only is it in public open court, I'm going to post it to social media,
wherever you want,
and every step of the way, every letter your lawyer sends, every letter I send back, and we'll just embarrass the shit out of you, and continually post pictures of your sons rooting the wall. Can't really be described as anything else. Have a look at 2 podcasts ago where I actually did picture-in-picture for once. God. So anyway, we'll see. But that's why I was saying to you, where they were bitching about, what do we have to pay for your time? I spent a genuine 3.5 hours today driving into town, hanging around for the guys to turn up with a replacement screen. Then the first screen was broken, then I had to go and get another one, and then brought it back and put that in and got that, and then had to go and get the replacement chain and the...
Yeah, we're not charging you for diesel,
and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like I should charge you, what is it, probably 40 cents a kilometre for the car thing. Went and picked that up and then came back and unloaded that and, in the thing, and paid for parking and all the rest of it. It's like, I've got better things to do with my time.
I add it on.
So I'm going to add it on slightly. Anyway, that's it. Off you go, my children. Beware of wolves. Enjoy your extra interest rates. If you've got any money in the bank, congratulations. If you've got a massive mortgage, well,
Well, you shouldn't have a massive mortgage.
Shouldn't have got a massive mortgage, should you?
That's dumb.
Work hard or starve.
Live within your means. Do not overextend yourself. Budget that in.
There are still cheap houses to be had. There are still deals to be made. There are interesting ways to do it. If you buy a fucking house and land package in Greater Western Sydney, you need your fucking head read, and you need your head read all the time for that. And I don't know why all of a sudden it's like, Anyway, that's it.
Towel rail to hang for me. Let's do it. Good evening.
9 years at university. Hang the towel rail, Bradley. I'll give you something to hang your fucking towels off. Good evening.